The room of doom at Snowball Derby is good for racing. And if you're one of those people who's going to start commenting on any video that gets posted about somebody getting DQ'd after a race, and you're just going to all caps it out, why didn't they catch it in pre race tech? Then this video is for you. We're going to talk directly to you in this live. I always got to try to give the people something in the first 5-10 seconds to try to keep attention. That way, if somebody watches this later, they stick around. I currently have a TV in front of me here with the Gateway Dirt Nationals on. So I'm going to be doing my best to not be fully distracted. But if you're watching the dome race, I'm also watching the dome race. Just to let you know. But my memories from last year or year before happened to be because Snowball Derby was today a year or two ago. And I legitimately thought that this would be another good topic to cover because I keep seeing it. So a lot of you might agree with me, some of you might not, but that's all good, right? What we're talking about is that hardcore at the end of the night racing tech, right? For those of you who don't know, the Room of Doom is the tech down at Five Flags. It was Ricky Brooks for quite a while. I think the last year or two he hasn't been involved with it, but the idea was that you're going to spend a significant amount of time in tech after the race. And it has decided multiple snowball derbies just in my lifetime, just in my racing lifetime, right? By the way, if you are watching the dome race, you don't know, like they park and then they drive along a street to go up to go in, and they were just showing that, and it is one of the coolest things. I think it's really really cool how they do that. So, but the Room of Doom, was it Chase Elliott that got hammered with tungsten weight? I know Stephen Nasse had the titanium pistons in the brake calipers. I want to say there was another guy that got busted with something. Just in the last X amount of years, right? And it's been happening a long time. Like people have been caught for a while, and just every time it happens, I just see somebody commenting about, well, why didn't they catch it in pre-race tech? And it's like Stephen Nasse had to pull the brake calipers off, and they pulled the pistons out of the brake calipers. It's like, man, some of this stuff is nuts that you people think it should be caught in pre-race tech. Like, how much time do you think these guys have, right? If I showed up to a race and they were like, "All right, we're gonna need you to tear the cylinder head off so that we can check the deck thickness to make sure that you're not cheating before practice," like, what? All right, cool. I'm gone. Like, we're legal, but I'm gone, right? Um, I am of the very personal belief that tech sessions like the Room of Doom are really good for racing. Just watching Jonathan Davenport bounce all over the place. I believe it's really good for racing. I truly do. I believe there should be more Room of Doom situations all across America. Do I believe that for 150 to win, you should Room of Doom it, 12 times a year? No, maybe five, right? And I fully believe even a stock style class, I believe they should have it just as much or more, right? And it's not hard to know why I think that either, right? I can't tell you how many times I have been to a race and I have had to listen to somebody complain um about, hey, he cheating, he cheating. And it's like, how do you know that they're cheating? Well, it's like, go through tech. Like, is he past tech every week? Well, yeah, but tech doesn't do their job. Tech isn't crap. Tech doesn't do anything. Cool. Do you know how little somebody gets to say about somebody else cheating if they get tore down multiple times? Like, you can't deny it. It gets to a point where you can't deny it. You can't say anything, you know? Uh it just it amuses me how racetracks they'll write rules. I must have picked the perfect time. I just got done watching the mod heat, and now they're out grooming the track. So we got a minute to talk. So if you're watching the dome, we got a minute to talk, right? But like the amount of times that I've seen racetracks write rules, and it's like, are you going to enforce that on every car? Like you're going to go through and you're going to tell me that you are going to inspect every car for that. And I'm not even talking about huge huge things like, oh yeah, he's got, 18.5 to 1 compression, a ported head, and all this and that. Like, are you gonna check that they are running, that every car has the same, like the rear steer on every car, like the rear toe on every car, and it's straight ahead, and you're gonna like string every car. What's your tech method for this? Well, it's to slow the fast guys down. You can give me whatever logic you want, but if you're not willing to tech 15th in the B main for it, why is that rule in place? You know? Like, why have a rule that you're not willing to tech? And you solve that issue with room of doom situations. If your rule book is this big, right? Yeah, cool. You don't need a room of doom that very much. Does it have all four wheels? Does it weigh enough? Yeah, right. Speaking of weight, like a room of doom type of thing that I love for weight is Eldora Speedway. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen this. How many times have you been watching like the World 100 or the Dream or something like that? And somebody has an amazing run and they roll up on that scale and there's a red light and a green light. And you'll see them sit there and you'll see them roll back and you'll see them roll back on and they'll drive off and that light never changes. You know, it's so simple. It's a go or no go gauge. Do you weigh X? No. Cool. Done. I personally I love that stuff. Like I love that stuff. You got to weigh 2450. You weigh 2450 or 49. Hey, sorry about your luck. You know what the weight rule was, right? And I've been busted for weight. Like I've had weight issues before. Mine, I was like the third one who didn't pass weight, and I was like, this physically is not possible. And the scales that we had said I was 175 pounds underweight. And I was like, I don't add lead to these cars. They're like, well, you're the third person who didn't make weight. Okay. Um, all three of your top three, and none of us have ever been busted for this before, and they made us all wait there. They were like, just a minute, and they went through and one of the officials stepped on every scale and they were like 40 pounds lighter than they knew they were, right? And they're like, all right, cool, there's a scale problem, you know. Like I have had that, right? But that was a real weird one-off thing, right? And they were busting everybody. But some of this stuff is so black and white. When Nasty got busted, right in the rules, it said something like no trick metal, like no titanium. And no titanium means no titanium. Oh, look, titanium gone, right? Well, that's because he switched brake companies and they were out to get him. And you know what? If he didn't have titanium in the brake calipers, it wouldn't have mattered. Like imagine doing that. Like let's just entertain that was the way it was. Is that there was somebody in the background that was like, hey, I know he's got those in there, and I know that it's in there because he switched brake companies. We're out to get it. And we're sponsored by this brake company, and you show him. You go and you beeline for it. That's the first and only thing you need to look for. And then they get there and they're like, hey, these things are perfectly legal. Right. And I do always love the age old adage, well, it's not a performance advantage. Why'd they spend a lot of money on it? I don't know if you guys know this or not. Titanium's more expensive than like everything else you can use in a race car. Right. So like I'm curious of what you guys think here. Like nobody's really commenting on that situation. Like, is this something are you guys in agreement with me on this or not? Like, and it's okay if you're not. It's okay if you think that, but like I watch this every year fold out where it's like Ricky Brooks is his ego, like he can't stand that it was a good race and it has nothing to do with him. And it's like, if you're not legal for that race where you're going in a room and they will tear you down, they'll pull the bolts out of your freaking locker if they need to. Like they'll pull the motor apart. They'll pull it down to the bare block. If you go into a room knowing that, and you're like, well, hopefully they don't find the shit I put in the frame rail. Like, how do you blame a tech guy at that? Now, if it had been like, hey, for the last 35 years, Snowball Derby, man, they might weigh you afterwards. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe it's Ricky Brooks this year, and he's got it out for this one guy, right? But it's like, all right, so the last 7 years have been decided in the tech room. But you know what? But I can sneak one past him this year. Like that's the stuff that drives me insane, right? Just drive down the road. So if you're watching the dome, they're getting ready to go back. Cars are going down the street. So, um, yeah, but says everybody's scared to talk about rules, but everybody's quick to complain. And Trent says, I wish more tracks had a Rookie Brooks. Like people may not believe this or not. I like rules. I like having a tech guy that inspects things, right? One of two things is going to happen. Me and the tech person are going to have a calm conversation. I've never yelled at a tech guy. We're going to have a calm conversation about why I think that's a gray area thing and why I think that's, in my favor. Or they're going to say, hey, this is cut and dry. We're not allowing it. Like, okay, cool. I've been busted for stuff before. I've had some gray area stuff they didn't agree with me on. Right? I've had some just blatant stuff, right? Now, the blatant stuff, look, I'll be honest with you guys. Here's how I have failed tech before. Okay. I'm trying to think. I know the most recent one for sure, but I'm trying to think I've had one or two since then, and I don't think I have. So the last one that I can remember where I failed tech, and this was 100% on me. I failed tech, right? I was at IRP with VCTS in 2015. I finished fifth in the race. Okay. And I failed the left side weight rule. I was like a point heavy, half a point heavy, somewhere around there. And the issue was 100% my fault. I did not recheck my weight. I didn't go back to the scales. I added a chunk of lead to the left front. Now, here's the pisser part of that. Back home at my scales, I was like right on the edge, right on the edge. I was like 50 because it was 55% left. It's been 55% left, right? So, and the way VCTS rules are written, and I love this, and I've discussed this more than once, it's order of accuracy. Left side weight, the way you write the number matters because VCTS's rule is 55%. Okay. That means 55.99.9999999 is legal. If it says 5.5, it is legal. If it says 5.6 point, it is illegal. Doesn't matter what those last two numbers are. If it says 5.5 point, it is legal, right? and my scale said 55.9. Okay. Well, VCTS's scales are about 0.3 to 0.4 heavier than mine. Okay. But they're consistent for everybody. They're in the same spot. They don't move, same calibration, right? This is why I always say what your scales say and what the track scales mean. Say the track scales matter, right? So always check yours against theirs. Okay. And I did not make the argument, well, at my track, right, or at my house, right? My screw up was that I put 25 pounds of lead on, and then I did not go recheck after I put that lead on. Okay. I weighed, was good, added the lead, did not weigh, right? And the kicker for me was, as I got home, I sat on my scales and I realized that if I had pushed myself all the way right in the seat, I could have lost 0.4 of a point and I would have been legal. But I didn't think about that because I never had to do that before, right? So I took that. Now VCTS, the cool part was there was two of us that got busted with something. We got docked 10 points or 10 spots that day, so I finished 15th. Okay, but had a good run. The car wasn't very good, but I made the best of it at IRP. I finished fifth. I was pretty proud of that, right? But I got busted there. Back in the day, I got busted with a 7-inch wheel when we were only allowed a 6-inch. We were only allowed a right front racing wheel. I had a 7-inch instead of a 6. And here's the kicker. We bought these racing wheels that came with a car, and I talked to the tech man. The tech man at one racetrack was the promoter and tech man at a second racetrack. And I talked to him and I said, hey, you wrote this rule and you defined it as this. We have 7-inch wheels. Can we, we've ordered them from Diamond because Diamond was the only one who made 6s at the time. Like, we're trying to get these. We bought these. They were supposed to be 6. We found out they're 7. Can we run them until our 6s come in? And as soon as they come in, man, they're off the cart. Like, I'm not trying to BS you, blah, blah, blah. And the tech guy said, I'll give you 2 weeks. They should be here by 2 weeks. If not, after that, you can't run, cool. Well, back in the day, a 3-inch offset 6-inch wheel had a certain lip on it. 7-inch wheel had a wider lip. Okay. So it's pretty easy to visually see. One of my competitors took offense to it, ratted me out. And since he, was a sponsor at the second track that the guy was promoting at, took our wheels to measure them. And I told him, I said, those are the wheels you told me on the phone I could run. And he said, well, I don't think I said anything like that. And I said, oh yeah? He says, yes, I know you did. Oh, well, okay. Well, we'll measure them. And so we got busted. And my favorite part of that story is that I said, all right, cool, bet. And I came out the next week with a stock wheel on. And I won fast time heat feature at both racetracks with that dude's tech. And I said, you need to measure that wheel too. So and it was the next week we had the proper racing wheel back on. We had a 6-inch and they come right over and I'm like, it's right there. I'll take it off for you right now. You want to dismount the tire before or after? Like, you let me know. Let's go. But yeah, I got busted with that. And then the same tech guy at the first track, opening night, I got busted with a automatic throttle body instead of a manual. I got busted with a right rear spring that was 60 thousandths thicker than my left rear spring. And I think that was it. I think those are the 2 things I got busted with, right? Funny enough, I swapped throttle bodies because it was a stock throttle body. I just had a manual and it was a automatic because the manuals tapered down. They went 52, step down to 49, step back to 52. 52 is where the throttle blade was, and the automatics were 52 all the way through. So I had the proper one on for the next week, right? But the rear springs, funny enough, 60 thousandths is apparently the difference between a Mopar extra high rate and a stock rear spring. But We had both of the Mopar extra highs on the next week, so it didn't matter, right? I didn't go any slower. Those are the times I have been busted. Now, that first one, the automatic throttle body, the rules weren't written. They were amended after that. That you had to run auto to auto, manual to manual, just said stock. So that got changed. Okay. And I grabbed the springs out of my massive pile of stock springs and I went, these look exactly the same. And I put them in the car. They were the same height, they were the same width, and they had the same number of coils. I knew the right rear was the extra heavier, right? I knew that. That one I pulled the tag off. The other one looked just as clean, didn't have a tag, so I assumed that it was that one. Yeah, I can make that. I'll make that argument on that one with our cars that hey, if you can't visually tell a difference, they're the same damn spring, right? And again, I went just as fast because I actually got the stiffer spring in left rear, right? But 60 thousandths on a rear spring is splitting hairs. Okay. Now my favorite part is that tech guy flat out said he was going to find out how we were so fast because he knew we shouldn't be that fast because he had built the car that should be the ultimate front wheel drive car, and we were faster than that. He never caught the bigger front sway bar. He never caught the brakes, my right rear brake that was um, had a bar in it. Something else I was doing that he never caught. Um, but anyways, right. And the year before that, I had a single overhead cam that had the head shave 60 thousandths that had a Magnum cam or a Crane 18 cam in it. Great big single cam. Had the Magnum header on it. Mopar PCM, like we were cheating. We were straight up cheating. But we weren't out motoring some guys, so I didn't feel bad about it, right? But those are times that I've been caught. There might be another time or two I've had issues in tech. If I remember them, I will tell you, right? But I've been to racetracks where I used to race somewhere where the tech official built and owned a car that somebody else was driving in the series. Okay. And there was some definite visual things you could see on that car that were illegal. And that tech official had it out for me for years. And we went to a racetrack and I listened to them tearing into somebody about how I'm cheating. And I went to one of the series officials and I said, hey, this is what I got to deal with. I'm like, you and I are standing 50 feet from that car. Oh, apparently that light ran out. Like we're standing 50 feet away from that car. I'm like, you can see that on it. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Just wanted to let you know, 50 feet away, you can see it. Cool. And I walked away, and that was that. Didn't say another word about it. And of course, to this day, if you talk to the right people, like I was bitching and moaning until they changed everything on the car. I'm like, nah. I pointed out to one guy how hypocritical it was. And I wasn't the only one that did it. Right? I'm not a guy who complains much. I'm really not. I beat a lot of guys with stuff I know that isn't legal, and it's fine. But I've also some of the same people that get mad at me for stuff like that. I have walked up to after a win, and I walk up to tell them good job on a good run or to talk to them, and one of the first things they ask is, "You still cheating? Still doing this? Still cheating?" And congratulations, you too. First off, wasn't cheating then. Second off, no, doing something different, doing something better, right? If I go to a race personally, you know, I'm gonna use Pete as an example because Pete and I race against each other a lot. Well, we used to, and Pete and I are rivals. Like Pete does not want to lose to me, and I do not want to lose to Pete, right? If I go to a racetrack and Pete absolutely puts it on me when we've been pretty close, right? and he absolutely puts it on me one night, and I'm like, man, my car was good tonight. What happened, right? Uh, Nobody in here from Michigan so far. Jonathan Davenport starting row 6. Um, but if we get done and Pete pulls into tech and they run him against across the scales and they're like, "Yep, you're good." I'm like, "Huh." I'm not accusing Pete of anything, but I'm, like it's gonna be there. That doubt's gonna be there. Of like, man, is he legal? Hmm. Like, what's he doing now? Like, we were within a tenth, and like he just put 5 tenths on me. Like, what's going on? But if we get done and I see him pull on the scale and then pull off over into tech, and I see him put the car up in the air, and I see him take all 4 tires off, and I see him pop the hood, and I see, um, you know, there's a lot of Illinois boys in there. But I see a lot, I see, you know, computer getting looked at, and I see wiring getting looked at, and I see, different things like that. You know, like we race outlaw stuff, so there isn't a shit ton to check, right? But like if they're looking at everything and it's like 45 minutes that they're looking at Pete's car and they come back and they're like, we couldn't find shit. And my car is parked behind his or behind the guy behind his, and I've got all 4 of my tires off, and they're looking at mine and they're looking at the other dude. Like let's say Pete wins it, I finish third, right? And they're all top 3 guys. They spend 45 minutes per car on. At the end of the day, I'll be like, I don't know what Pete found, but shit, I hope I find it because holy crap. Like, dude, he and like, man, they were trying. Like, I know what they looked at my car. So if they looked at my car like that and they looked at his car like that, then shit, like he's got to be legal or he's just really good at hiding it, right? Um, like that's how I feel every time. If I watch 45 minutes worth of tech done to a car, I walk away going, one of two things. Depends on if I like the guy. With Pete, maybe, but if I know the tech guy knows what he's doing and they spend 30, 45 minutes looking a car over, man, I'm walking away going, they passed. Like, we're good to go, right? So, but if I watch them maybe weigh it out, you know, mm, did they? You know, did they? My thing just popped up too. Because Lions and Green Bay are playing tonight too. I'm up here in Michigan, so I'm a Lions fan. 17-7, baby. So they complained about me at our local track. The only rules was 2100. We run many outlaws. Yeah, the fun thing for me is there's this ongoing debate with a couple tracks and a series about the weight rules and how it's just so hard to win in a K series because um so hard to win with a K series because they have to weigh 2450. And we won we led a lap. Oh god, we didn't win. Probably had a much better summer food one. We led a lap at Bristol. We led at Bristol, right? And multiple people like, oh yeah, see, like they the car that you got to check engine size because VCTS weights based on engine size. So under 2 liters is 2250. Um, over 2 liters is 2350, and or 2 liters and under is 2250. 2350 is bigger than a 2 liter. And then K series got to weigh 2450, something like that. And Dad's car is a 2.0. It's a straight up 2.0. It's 2.0 block, 2.0 crank. Like you can't hide it either. Like you can't. I've shown how to look and see a 2.0 versus a 2.4. I'll show you again later because I got a busted 2.4 and a busted 2.0. I can show you, right? You can't hide them. And you can't put a 2.4 crank in a 2.0 and blah blah blah. And we wouldn't want to anyways. It's like the extra stroke for us doesn't do what we need to. We need the RPM. But that was the thing is, you gotta check engine size. You gotta check engine size because they're getting this big weight break and then they led. And it's like dad's car with me in it was 2460 or like 2440, I think it was. Right. We were like 2450. We were at the K series weight rule. And it's like dad's car doesn't have any lead in it with my big ass in it. We're 22, we're 24 and change, right? And it's like, and somebody tried to make the argument. They're like, well, maybe we ought to revisit the weight rule if a neon can compete at that weight. And it's like, I wouldn't say leading half a lap should negate the fact that a K swap Civic won 3 out of 5, you know, and then win. I led half a lap, right? So these weight rules, these discussions, stuff like this, we can have these discussions. It's just it gets so insane to me to hear people complain and moan about this stuff of he's cheating, he's cheating, he's cheating, he's cheating. He's not. And they're not gonna catch anything in pre-race tech. You're not gonna tear your car down a pre-race tech. I'm not gonna tear my car down a pre-race tech. The snowball derby's not gonna. Is that a tire? Giant chunk of black. I think it's a chunk of tire. They're just beating the snot out of the right rear quarter. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why some of these guys put spoilers on. I think 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not like 9 cars in a row. Oh no, not tire. That's a dude's whole rear quarter and all that. Like all these cars at the dome. Oh, the 12's got a ton of smoke. Winger. Um, but these guys all have the right rear just blown off from them, body wise. Like, yeah. And yeah, and that's I've been told saying that I'm cheating, put the money where your mouth is. Yeah, and like we've done that one time. My dad did one time. We had a guy who was openly bragging about running stuff that wasn't to the rules, and so we put up the bounty to have him teched, and somehow the track promoter sided with the guy that was a um, sponsor of the track, and yeah, and it was some real shady stuff. It was done behind closed doors. Decided that he was good, and then they got mad because we switched classes. We stayed at the track. We're like, we'll support the track, we won't support the class, and we started racing against V8 cars. Because it was like, this is obviously a dog and pony show, so we're gonna step away from it. But yeah, it just blows my mind. So and Trenton saying, looking at Watson speed rule says no bump stops. Always been that rule up there. No, they changed that for this year. I don't know why. If you're interested in running up there, Trenton, shoot him an email, and let them know, like at the rules thing. I'm going to, because their rules align with most everybody else for the most part. There's a few things, the wording on like cutting out the rear section and stuff, but you know, it's just it's not worded well. But yeah, the no bump stop thing. Yeah, whoever's got the Bloomquist paint job here, is it Shepard? Gustin? The 19R Gustin, dude, his entire rear spoiler's off. Winger just has the left rear plate holding it. Now, funny enough, Spatola, the guy leading it, still has pretty much all of his spoiler. Well, a little bit off the right rear. The no dual exhaust part sucks. Yeah, honestly, that one I'm not surprised about though, Trenton, because I don't know many tracks that have said that that's allowed. Like most of the rules that I've read have said you have to have 2.5 inch, which, dude, your shit should run just fine on. You might have to redo something if you've already got it, but you know, I made more power than you did on the same dyno out of a 2.5 inch. Like you should be okay. Not by a lot, but just a little. But 2.5 should flow what you need it to. So yeah, the 12 is smoking like crazy out of the front. I don't know if he's got a tire rub or if the motor's laying down, but it's coming out of the left front. Yeah, that dude in the 89 Spatola, like he's he took off from the yeah, it was a good one. So that's kind of what I got for tonight, guys and gals. So I'm I am working on some more guests. We've got a couple subscribers who are going to be on. If you have somebody that you think I should have on as a guest, just let me know. I'll try to reach out to them. They don't have to be a multi-time track champ. They don't have to be a big-time winner. They can just be a dude who enjoys doing stuff or a chick. I would happily talk to the ladies, which I need to reach out to. Can I remember her name right this minute? The lady that won the IMCA national deal. So, you know what? Pete says, "How is Paul's car count?" Let me see if they have posted. A friend of mine from the Dome um, just sent me a picture of a melted wheel from down there that the brakes were stuck. She said, um, but I don't know if I don't. Has Paul posted it? Has anybody know if Paul's posted car count and stuff? And I do like Trenton. I would tell you, we talked about this before, and I'll bring it up real quick, right? Um, they need to put front wheel drives on the Dome. They need to put front wheel drives on the Dome. I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound a little controversial. Okay. Um, you can agree with me. You cannot agree with me. That's fine. Okay. But most everybody who's complaining about they should put front wheel drives on the Dome, especially the dirt guys, it would look like a shit show. And I don't mean that as in just like uh like they'd be out there wrecking a bunch of stuff. Because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, every single one of these cars has a right rear tore off from it, right? Um, yeah, but there is a lot. Like every one of these super lates. Um, I'm trying to find to see if there's anybody. So because tonight is just open track practice. Um, So yeah, they don't have anything with the compact page or that because tonight's just like open track practice, so it's not actually officially with it. So yeah, um, but this is a controversial part. There's so many cars that would try to go down here to the Dome that look like ass. Um, every single one of these dirt lates has a brand new body on it to start this race. New body, new wrap. They look great. All these modifieds look great. Like there's nobody that's got a full season of beating the shit out of each other on it, right? I have seen guys who build a car and put 6 seasons on the body. And if it's one where it's like, dude, we would look good. We'd really show out for front wheel drive racing. I don't think we would. 'Cause first off, you know, I hate it as much as the next guy. We ain't getting the love, right? Nobody's People aren't buying Flow Racing to watch front wheel drives at the Dome. Not like they would be late models, right? But yeah, it's invite only. And I get that, Jason. I really do. I get that, right? But Bristol was supposed to be like the same sort of deal a little bit to start out with, like the first year. But there's just so many guys, and we have this on pavement. This isn't just a dirt thing, right? There's so many people that can't be bothered to put fresh sheet metal on, a fresh coat of paint, or fresh stickers after 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And I understand that. I can get, hey man, it's just gonna get the shit beat out of it. Cool, right? But don't be one who's thinking you could go show out on TV at the dome, right? Because it wouldn't be a good look. Now, do I think a street stock front wheel drive only event could do really well? Yeah. They could probably have 250 cars in each class, right? But it wouldn't sell like the late models modifieds, right? But there's just so many people that I see comment about that. They're like, they should let us out there. They should let us out there. They should let us out there. And it's like, it wouldn't be a good look. And we're trying to push this year for you to have a little pride in your ride. So, but that's what I got for you guys and gals tonight. Um, so yeah, if you got any comments, questions, concerns, throw them out there. I'm just sitting here. I'm not turning it up. I'm not going to show you guys the live stream at all. I do not party that way. Um, I don't infringe like that. So that won't happen, but I'm happy to sit here and we can talk and have ourselves a little mini watch party or something. Where we talk about it if you're also watching. But yeah, if you guys have something else you want to talk about, comments, questions, concerns, throw them out there. Um, I'm sitting out here. I don't have flow on the TV in the house, so I'm sitting out here in the studio until they're done racing here. I don't think they're doing anything at the Snowball Derby right now. Maybe they are. Maybe they're still running their 513th practice session. Um, maybe. So we're gonna watch that too. I forgot I had Flow Racing, and I bought this little TV. And I mean, it's only 27-inch. It's a little guy. I bought it to put out here because the goal was, cameras here. The goal was to not be looking down here at my laptop all the time, and I wanted to have where I had a TV behind the camera, and I could just put this up there so that I could read the comments. Well, then it turns into this. So instead of looking down, I'm looking up, because where I gotta have the camera for now, because we're gonna be rearranging in here some. But yeah, well, it's a smart TV, a Roku TV. And so I think, and I was like, oh man, it's on Flow TV. I was like, I wonder if I still have that. And so I downloaded it on the TV, and lo and behold, my membership's still good. So yeah. Have I ever put a second gen neon together? No. I have not built a second gen myself. I've used some second gen parts. I have helped people build second gens. I won't build a second gen unless there's some reason for me to. Um, they're heavier, they're taller, and they don't come in a two door. So yeah, I'm first gen neon or nothing. Um, I just I like them a lot better, and that's all I got. I got a bunch of party because there is some stuff that's interchangeable, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't. So like if I swap to a second gen, like motor and tranny, I could do, but like suspension wise, like the struts are different because the heights and stuff are different. I mean, first gen stuff on a second gen lowers it. Um, that's actually a little tip of the tippy, by the way. If you're driving a neon, you can use a second gen rear strut because they're a little taller. So the fronts too, so you could use like a left front. The problem is though, the knuckles are thicker, so you gotta solve that problem. But yeah, so coupes are impossible to find out, brother. I got two of them in the pole barn. I got two in the pole barn and one in the driveway. I got three of them in my house right now. Ain't that hard to find? They made significantly more four doors, but they're out there. They made over 1 million neons. So the Owasso jet drivers make it. Dude, it is insane to me. You guys are gonna hear me talk about Owasso. Owasso is a track up here in Michigan that got bought by Rex Wheeler, and I'll be honest, I was real leery when he first came to town because we've heard this. I'd heard this before. He came in and they had this. I give him credit. B Shep's spoilers mostly on the car too. Wingers isn't. Holy crap, Wingers is just sitting on the bodywork, but Shepard's got most of his rear wing, and Spada, the guy that won, he's got most of his too. So yeah, the 8 card didn't even come out with the right rear, like the right side portion, that little crush panel piece that goes between them. So I'd be real curious to know how much difference it'd make on one of these cars, because this is, I know how much of a importance aero can make, right? This is a little bitty track. I don't know how fast they're going, if they would really notice. Winger with basically no rear spoiler ran second. You know what I mean? So I want to know why he's smoking. So if any of you heard the interview with Winger, um, uh, if any of you heard the with the 12, did he say what the smoke was? So, but yeah, anyways, so Rex Wheeler bought Owasso, and they had these big grandiose plans. Going to repave the place. We're going to add this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this, and he'd be the second or third person. And his choice of promoter and stuff didn't instill a lot of confidence in a lot of people. And Rex came out, and at this point now, there's probably $3 million worth of concrete that have been poured at Owasso. They completely redid the entire racing surface. They paved the entire infield, putting a big figure eight in. They put $500,000 worth of LED lighting in the place. And they've poured pits, like they poured concrete pits, and there is, and according to all them and like the construction company, it's all like 8-9 inches thick. They, for those of you that know concrete or construction, they built a batch plant at Owasso Speedway. Like back in the back 40 is a batch plant. That's how much concrete they're pouring at Owasso. Okay. Um, And I mean, they came out swinging. Like Rex came out swinging. They were paying front wheel drives 1,000 to win the A, 600 to win the B last year. Now it's still like it's 800 to win the A or something like that. Like it still pays really, really good. Um, but they have brand new trucks and jet dryers. Here, I'll try to pull up a picture of them here. But Owasso branded um, um, jet dryers, the trucks and jet dryers, and they are down at Five Flags. I got a picture here we're going to share. Yeah, I mean this is the Owasso Speedway jet dryers at Five Flags Speedway. And they've taken them all over the place. What was the other big race they were just at? But they literally go down there with these, and like Owasso Speedway sponsored the U.S. Bristol Nationals. Like they're sponsoring all kinds of stuff. And I haven't actually talked to Rex. I actually kind of want to. I kind of want to have him as a guest at some point. Um, but I was surprised. Like they actually came out swinging, said this is what we're gonna do, and jet dryers are down at Five Flag Speedway, the Owasso Speedway stuff. Um, yeah, they're using the crap out of them. So it's amazing to me how much Owasso's been doing, and I give Rex all the credit for it. So yeah, that place is and he said it. Their goal is to get ARCA and possibly trucks at Owasso, and they're going for it. Like they built the track so that they could put safer barriers, and they're doing it in stages. So they did like the track. They didn't tear down the front grandstands and all that at all yet. So like the front stretch it needs to be expanded and stuff, but they went to the original wall because they weren't going to tear any of that down until they build the grandstands on the backside like they want. Then once they do that, they'll redo the track at the front, and then once they do that, then they'll go around from there. So yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff. So Ricky Thornton Jr. in a modified. Okay. Man, Illinois is showing out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the top 10 starters are all from Illinois. Man. That's nuts. Thornton Jr. didn't make it in a late model, but made it in a modified, apparently. So, yeah. And Michigan, dude, Mannix. I've seen Mannix on TikTok. He actually races locally, he races Butler. So, yeah. But all right, guys and gals, I'm gonna let you go for tonight. I'm not sure exactly what tomorrow's topic will be, but we might be here in the studio again because it is stupid cold outside and it is nice in here with the heater going. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna sit here and watch a modified race, and I'll let you guys have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. Yeah, it's almost the weekend, so hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.